They say a man can ride across 1,000 miles of desert and return the same, unless he meets the one soul who was meant to change him forever. And for Colt Ramsey, a quiet cowboy who lived with a scarred past, that moment came the night he found a wounded Apache woman collapsed beside a dying fire, whispering a name that made his whole world stop. Because helping her meant betraying everything the frontier taught him to fear, yet walking away felt like betraying his own heart. The wind rolled across the high desert like a whisper carrying old secrets. Colt Ramsey guided his horse, Dustfire, down a lonely trail glowing with the last embers of dusk. He wasn't the kind of man who went looking for trouble anymore. Trouble had already taken too much, his brother, his land, and the last piece of innocence he didn't know he still had. He was heading back to his small, weathered cabin after trading supplies in town when Dustfire suddenly halted. Ears forward. Muscles tense. Colt placed a slow hand on the reins. Easy, boy. What do you hear? Then he saw it, smoke. Faint. Thin. Far too low to be a campfire someone meant to keep alive. Colt nudged Dustfire forward. When he reached the clearing, he froze. A young Apache woman lay half buried beneath a torn blanket, her breathing shallow, her ankle bound with crude rope marks. A trail of dried blood stained her shoulder. Someone had tried to chase her down, or worse. Colt knelt beside her. Ma'am? Can you hear me? Her eyelids fluttered, revealing dark, frightened eyes. She whispered something in Apache, something he didn't understand except for one word, brother. Colt swallowed hard. The old stories, the warnings, the border town fear of anything Apache, they all ran through his mind like wildfire. But so did something else, something human. Something right. He lifted her into his arms and felt how cold she was. Don't worry, he murmured. I ain't leaving you here. Back at his cabin, the woman drifted in and out of sleep while Colt cleaned her wounds. She watched him with wary suspicion, but she didn't resist when he offered water. Only when she gathered the strength to speak did she reveal her name, Tessa. Colt nodded. I'm Colt. She hesitated before telling him the truth. Her brother had been taken by a group of men stealing Apache land. She escaped only because she jumped from a moving wagon. Colt's gut twisted. He knew the group she described. Men with no mercy, no code, no soul. He should have stayed out of it. He'd promised himself he would after losing his brother to violent men, but when Tessa's voice broke as she whispered, "He is all I have left," Colt felt the old wound inside his chest stir. He couldn't walk away, not from that kind of pain. That night, while Tessa slept, Colt stared into the fire, battling himself. A cowboy could choose his fights. A good man, though, maybe didn't always get that choice. Finally, he strapped on his revolver. He'd lost one brother before. He wasn't losing someone else's. Dawn spread gold across the desert as Colt saddled Dustfire. Tessa limped out, still weak, but determined. I go with you. Colt shook his head. You can barely stand. You do not know where they take him. I do. Her resolve was sharper than a blade. Colt sighed, realizing she wasn't asking permission, she was choosing family over fear. And he respected that more than he could say. They rode together, following the wagon tracks through canyons and open plains. Along the way, Tessa told him pieces of her life, how her tribe lived with the land, not from it. How her father taught her to track by listening to the ground. How her mother said fear was a shadow, not a prison. Colt shared little of himself, but she noticed everything, the way he stared at the horizon too long, the way pain hid behind his silence. You have lost someone, she said gently. He didn't answer. But she didn't need words. By sunset, they reached an abandoned mine camp. Lanterns flickered, and voices echoed inside. Tessa's hand trembled as she pointed. My brother is in there. Colt touched her shoulder. Stay behind me. But Tessa moved beside him, not behind. Courage like hers made Colt's heart twist in ways he couldn't explain. Inside, the camp was a pit of cruelty, rough men laughing, cards scattered, and in a corner, tied to a post, a young Apache boy with bruises on his arms. Tessa gasped. The men spun around, Colt drew first, the fight erupted like thunder. Gunshots cracked through the dark. Dust flew. Colt moved with precision born of hard history, protecting, shielding, enduring. Tessa freed her brother and dragged him behind cover. When a man aimed at her back, Colt threw himself between them, taking a hard blow that dropped him to one knee. Tessa screamed his name, Colt rose again, fired, and silence finally settled over the mine. When it was over, Tessa ran to him. "You are hurt." He smiled faintly. "Seen worse." Her brother clung to her, whispering her name with relief. Colt watched them, feeling a distant ache, a reminder of what he once had, what he lost, and what he would never get back. Outside, under the starlit sky, Tessa touched Colt's hand. "You saved us. I will not forget." Colt looked away, overwhelmed by something he wasn't ready to face. Just did what any decent man would. "No," she whispered. "Many men would ride away. You rode toward danger." Her words hit him deeper than any bullet could. When they returned to the edge of Apache territory, Tessa's tribe welcomed her with tears and gratitude. Elders approached Colt, offering thanks, offering gifts, but he shook his head. Tessa stepped close. "You ride away now?" she asked softly. Colt nodded. "Your world, it ain't mine. But your heart," she whispered, "knows me." He paused, because she was right. He felt something for her he couldn't name, something that frightened him more than gunfire ever had, but he also knew the truth: some loves aren't meant to stay. Some are meant to save you, then set you free. He tipped his hat. "Take care of your brother, Tessa." Her eyes shimmered. "And you, Colt Ramsey, may the wind guide you back if your heart ever lets you return." He wanted to say something, anything. Instead, he turned his horse and rode into the fading light, leaving behind a woman who had healed pieces of him he didn't realize were broken. As the horizon swallowed his silhouette, Tessa whispered to the wind, "He saved my life, and took my heart." And far off in the desert, Colt whispered to himself, "I lost my heart, but I reckon it's safe with her."